I'm just on the side of the highway here with a flat tire. So while I wait for the tire technician, I thought, let's do a quick episode here, right? They say the physical access is not the same as emotional arrival, and that intimacy isn't earned by proximity necessarily. See, she can't let someone in without ever actually feeling them there in the moment, right? This episode closes a series that we've been wrestling with what it means for men to experience intimacy and integrity, to move beyond performance and to meet love with presence, to stop touching bodies while hiding souls. And this final chapter is about the moment that so many of us men arrive at, and that is this realization that closeness has been achieved, but connection necessarily hasn't. See, the body responds, right? The breath may quicken, the touch is there for sure, but something still feels like it remains untouched. And it's not her necessarily, but more so I believe it's us. Because it's possible to hold her hips, yes, and to kiss her neck and to enter her body and still never truly be in the room with her. Still never truly let yourself be felt. Still never actually reveal the weight and the fear and the history and the longing, the you that's behind the hands that are touching. See, we've learned to chase access. We believe that closeness equated to victory and that touch was like proof of something. But when we avoid being seen, even the most vulnerable moments feel very distant. Even the most passionate sex feels hollow. I mean, she may let us in, yes, but she doesn't actually feel us there. And it's not because she's closed, but more so because we are. Because we're still performing, we're still proving, we're still trying to be good enough or hard enough or skilled enough, even trying to impress just enough. And all that effort becomes noise. It fills the space and it replaces the stillness with strategy. See, she doesn't need strategy, she needs presence. And not a presence that's polished or performative, but a presence that's honest, that doesn't use intimacy to outrun exposure. See, this entire series has been about that exposure, the slow peeling back, if you will, of false security, and instead the surrendering of roles and masks that we wear and tactics that we utilize. So we can finally become the kind of men who can be felt fully, deeply, without any defenses. That's what I want to return to now. Not any new tricks that I'm offering, not any clever sentences, not even a 5-step framework. Just a question for consideration, and that is, am I letting myself be known in this moment? Not in the I'm understood, but as in the revealed. Is my energy clean? Is my need expressed honestly? Is my breath here present? Is my body relaxed enough to not only welcome instead of just taking? See, she can tell. I mean, she, I think, always can tell, because her body has been trained to feel what words won't say. Her body has, in essence, had to learn to read absence, even in closeness. And what she often feels, I think, is this. The man who's touching her oftentimes isn't really there. He's in his head. He's in his fear. He's in the script that he's following. He's in the story of what this is supposed to mean to him. He's basically somewhere else. And so she's left to wonder again if there's anyone who's truly with her in this moment at all. When presence is missing, even pleasure feels hollow, and touch becomes choreography, and connection becomes performance, and intimacy becomes another place to disappear. See, this is where so many of us have lived, performing desire instead of embodying it, pursuing closeness while remaining emotionally untouchable, using sex to feel whole while refusing to be seen. And we've called this masculinity, we've called it confidence, we've called this success. But what we've really built, though, are basically walls that we wear the costume of closeness in. We've learned to be present in action, but absent in our true selves. Because being touched doesn't just mean being met. And giving pleasure doesn't just mean that we've given ourselves. See, for many of us men, it's not the sex that's terrifying, it's the exposure of our souls. It's the moment when we realize that we can no longer perform our way into feeling worthwhile. It's the stillness that when our body says yes, but our soul remains hidden. It's this unbearable vulnerability of being felt, not for what we do, but for who we actually are. And so we stay in control, and we lead the moments. We focus on her, and we focus on doing it right. Because if we keep the spotlight away from ourselves, maybe we won't have to be touched where it really matters. See, this was never about the technique. It's been about the terror. The terror of being witnessed, not just admired, not even just wanted, but being witnessed. See, that's what so many of us, I believe, are trying to avoid. And that's why we can be inside of our body and still feel like we're in exile. Because without vulnerability, there is no intimacy. Without emotional transparency, sex is just strategy. And what we're left with is this performance of closeness that's void of mutually arriving. And what she longs for, I believe, is not perfection. What she's asking for isn't a better technique. She just wants presence. She wants you there in that moment with her. Not the version of you that's trying to be impressive. Not the version of you that's trying to avoid and hide your shame behind your skill. But the version of you that actually breathes and that listens and that feels. And not just feels her, but also feels yourself. See, this series has peeled back layer after layer of what intimacy truly asks of us, and that is responsibility, regulation, truth, courage. And not the courage just to dominate, but the courage to dissolve, to let the body soften, to let the mask fall, to bring the part of ourselves that we never let be touched into the room with her. That's where the real connection lives. And that's where safety begins. Safety, you see, isn't a condition that she creates. It's more so an atmosphere that we co-author together. And we can't really experience it if we refuse to experience, if we keep abandoning ourselves. See, she might allow access, yes. And she might stop, like she might be there physically with you. She might smile, but something will always be missing because the part of us that's necessary is missing in that space. That absence is far louder than silence. It registers in her body as tension. Even if she can't name it, it tells her something's off here. And when something's off, trust begins to erode. Not because of anything harsh that we say or do, but because of everything that we still keep unspoken. See, this is the unseen pain that we men carry, I believe, and that is that we want to be felt, but we don't want to be vulnerable. We want to be wanted, yes, but we fear being seen. We want to love. We also keep love at a distance, and that distance is maintained not with cruelty, but with this fear, the fear of softness, the fear of not being enough, the fear that if she sees the unguarded version of us, that she'll turn away. So we touch more, and we speak more and we try harder, but the very effort becomes a barrier, right? Because it's not her body that needs more of us, it's her heart that needs us to arrive and to stay. And we can't arrive in her if we haven't first arrived in our own hearts. And this is why so much of what we call connection is actually, in essence, avoidance. We stay in the body because the body feels safer than the soul. So we perform and we lead and we guide, but we don't let go. And letting go is where love begins. Not control, not choreography, not even mastery, but letting go. Letting go of who we're trying to be. Letting go of what we think she wants of us. Letting go of the fear that if we drop this act, we'll be left behind. See, we've been so afraid of being abandoned that we've abandoned ourselves first. We've in essence built our sense of touch around what's expected, not what's honest. We've entered her body while staying outside of our own truth. And when that truth is withheld, no matter how close we physically are, the space between our hearts remains vast. So this is the work that we have now, to stop hiding behind effort, to stop calling performance connection, to stop asking her to feel something that we haven't even made available. See, intimacy begins the moment that we show up without the shield that we've been carrying. When we don't need to be impressive, when we don't need to be right, when we don't need to win, just need to be real, just need to be present, just willing to be met fully. And that's what this series has been about from the very beginning of this month. I titled it, Before You Touch Her, Touch Your Own Truth. This was never about behavior first. It was about becoming honest enough, grounded enough, and courageous enough to, in essence, bring your full and unpolished self into the space where love lives. Because love doesn't happen on the surface. Love does not bloom where fear controls the air. No, love blooms in the quiet, in the breath that's taken freely, in the pause between trying and trusting, in the risk of being fully known, not physically, but more so emotionally and spiritually and energetically. The risk is always the same. See, to be seen is the risk, and not to perform, but to be held, and not to flinch, but to be chosen, not for what we did, but for who we are when the performance falls away. That's the kind of man that I believe that she wants. That's the kind of man that I think we should want to be. Not just good, not just nice, not just gentle, but honest and rooted and real and courageous. And realness means letting go of the belief that skill will save us. See, skill doesn't make us safe. Presence does. And presence cannot be faked. See, the body knows. The heart knows. The silence knows. This is where we arrive now. At the edge of everything that we thought would work, and at the beginning now of what actually will work. And that is truth and stillness and ownership and transparency and surrender. So let it be this simple. Let it be this simple. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to stop hiding and let yourself be seen. Let yourself be felt. Let yourself become the kind of man who no longer reaches for her body to escape his own. And in doing so, you'll become, I think, what she's been looking for all along. And that's a place to meet, a place to rest, a place where nothing has to be earned, because everything that matters is already here. I hope this series has served you well. Thank you for following along. If you haven't watched the other ones, please go check out the series on my YouTube channel. That's where I posted the full context. Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear your stories, your experiences. I'd love to connect and engage with you. I'll see you in the next series starting tomorrow. Ciao.